It says like record.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's so funny.
literally my bestie. She's always there. But like, um, welcome to Digipaint. I'm Anna. I am the president of the club, and this is Althea. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Althea. I'm the junior outreach officer of Digipaint.
Woo. Yes,
Nice to
okay,
meet
I have
you.
a microphone. And the officer that you've been talking to, Caitlin, she could not make it, but she sends her regards. Um,
No
yeah.
worries.
So I guess like this is our club is just kind of like a place for digital artists to come. We have a lot of casual events, a lot of like workshops and stuff, and then we also do like professional speaker events like this, where we get to bring in artists and they get to talk to us about their journey and stuff. So I don't know if you wanted to introduce yourself at all.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks for letting me come to Digipaint, your club, and do a little like talk. Yeah, I can actually start the presentation because it's like just an introduction of myself and then we can walk from there. And then feel free to ask questions while I'm like doing the panels. And if you want to wait to the end, that's cool too.
Awesome. Sounds great.
Yeah. Let's see. Share my screen. You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Okay. Yay. This is
Yay.
good. This is working. Okay. Awesome. Hi everyone. My name is Stephanie Rizzo, and I am a character designer and story artist. I'm Mexican American, born and raised in California, sunny California. And again, I'm a character designer and story artist in the animation industry. I've been working in the industry for about probably like 6 years now, both design and story like combined. Um, and yeah, and I started drawing as a kid, just having fun, copying a lot of like comics and had to draw books because that was always really fun. I think at this time I wasn't really sure if I if this is something I wanted to do as a career, because like as kids, lots of us just draw on our own time, but I was just having fun. Um, it wasn't until one time because my mom would take my sister and I to the library, and I'd always go in the art section, and I was always grabbing the how to draw books, and I happened to find this book that was sticking out from the bookshelf. And when I opened it, it was all these like amazing art, and I was like, "What is this? I don't know." And it was the art of book of Tarzan, and it was this huge book. It was so awesome, lots of like paintings and just the process of like how they were making this movie. And that's when I found Glenn Keane, and I was reading his bio, and I was like, "Wait, you can work in like you can get a job in animation." And so that made me want to go into animation and like want to be an animator actually. Because I saw all the 2D animation and I was like, I really want to do this so bad. But I was still a kid, so I wasn't sure like exactly how. Um, so my school journey was like once I started going to high school, I was like, okay, my goal is to like go into an art school, maybe CalArts or Laguna. But every time I applied, I wouldn't get in, or it was just really expensive. And honestly, coming from high school, like I wasn't the sharpest kid at school, like at least in high school. So I wasn't getting any like scholarships or anything like that would, like help me sort of pay for classes. So I went to actually Orange Coast College, community college, very close to me to my house. And I was just gonna transfer, like I was gonna do 2 years in transfer, but it was still a lot of money at the time, and I didn't want to give my parents that like loan, for 4+ years after that. So I found a narrative illustration program there in community college, and I loved it. They didn't have an animation program at the time, but I knew that the classes, which is like just really fundamental classes, would help me along my way. And on the side, because I know I want to do animation, I just found online classes, which was Schoolism and the Oatly Academy. I don't know if you guys heard of those two before. But that was really cool finding those online classes. And then after doing that for a while, I did that for 4 years. And in college, there was a Starbucks there, so I wanted up to taking a job as a barista. And after I kind of like got my certificate in narrative illustration, I wasn't sure like if I was gonna get a job in animation because I felt like I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I was doing, and I wanted to focusing more on character design because I found out 2D animation was a dying art at the time, and it was kind of sad because I was like, wait, like what am I gonna do? And I tried 3D animation. I appreciate people that do that, but I could not, like, for the life of me, get into it. So I wound up doing character design or focusing myself in character design, which is kind of the closest thing to 2D animation. And so then I worked as a barista for 3 years. While I was doing that, I was trying to find freelance work to try to, put that on my resume, have like a little bit of experience. And at first it was kind of hard because I would apply and I would get a lot of rejections from all kinds of like studios. And then I finally, my first freelance job was at Warner Brothers doing some design for Unikitty. It was only for about like a month, and because I had no idea what a design job would be for TV, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm gonna do that, but at least I got an experience doing that, you know. And then after that, like having that in my resume, that kind of like snowballed into all these like side freelance I did, and most of it was just concept work for show developments. So it was a lot of just like nothing too clean, but just ideas for them to like have like for the packets. And yeah, it was really fun. I had a great time doing that while I was a barista, but my goal was still trying to get into the industry and like having a full-time job. So I actually went, I had a lot of friends that went to Cal State Fullerton, and I ended up going a lot to PMC Art Club, which is very similar to what you guys are doing, having lots of speakers and just like getting inspired by their journeys as well. And I actually met Matt Roberts through one of their panels.
Cool.
And at that time, I was making this like art book. It was just kind of like, I know a lot of art schools have like their like finals or their like senior projects, and I didn't get to experience that. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make up a story and like pretend this is my final. And so I made up this book, this like short little art book of this made up story called Zeta and the Lost Stones. And when I met him, I gave him the book, and I wasn't expecting to get a job out of it or anything, but I was like, if he wants to look at it, that's cool, I guess. So he was like, thanks, I'll like take this with me. And after a couple months, he reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to apply to the training program. And I almost said no because it was for storyboarding and I wanted to go into design. So I was like, why is he asking me for storyboarding? And then I almost said no, but I was like, you know what? If he's asking me to do it, might as well like apply. Um, so I only had like a month to put a portfolio together for storyboarding, and then I applied. I had an interview, and then I got a call asking if I wanted to be part of the training program, which is amazing. It was really fun. It was kind of crazy because like, going from barista to just going to like being a trainee at Disney was insane. But really exciting. And I was there for a year as a trainee. Unfortunately, I didn't become an apprentice. Uh, it was a very challenging program, and I even felt like I wasn't super prepared yet, but I was still really sad about it because, you want to prove yourself of how like that you're worth being there and stuff. So it was a mixed feelings of like, am I not good enough yet? Or actually like this is a good opportunity just learn and like experience Disney. Um, so after that, I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do next. And I got the crazy opportunity to work at So Many Pictures and be part of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse that just came out
Awesome.
last year. Thank you. This was crazy because when they asked me, I was like, but I'm only just drawing animals. Like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I remember feeling like so nervous and scared because, the first one did amazing. And I'm like, what a like crazy thing to work on.
Yeah.
But it was such a great experience, yeah, on this movie. I learned a lot of perspective on this job and drawing Spider-Man. Um, and then after that was done, I was there for 3 years, and I came over to Warner Brothers Animation. I was only there for 6 months, but I got to work on this really fun show called Bye Bye Bunny. Unfortunately, got canceled
Oh
because it
no.
was merger of Discovery and Animation, or sorry, Discovery and Warner Brothers,
Mm.
and they canned it, and so all of us lost our job when we were so close to finishing it. Yeah, it was really sad, but that was probably the most fun I had working on like a movie because it was Looney Tunes, and we were honestly just making like stupid animation, like jokes and stuff, cartoons, but it was great. It was fantastic. Um, yeah, so then after that, I found my way back to Disney, and that's where I am right now, currently. I worked a little bit right now on Zootopia 2 that was announced recently,
Oh my
and I'm
God.
on another project that I can't talk about, but that one I'm having a lot of fun on that one. Um, and yeah, that's kind of like the journey part. If you guys have any questions, you can
Yeah.
ask. The
Um,
second part, I'm gonna talk about like the difference between these two. So
yeah, wait, I had a question and I forgot it.
yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, does anyone else have any questions? Oh, yes, we do have a question. I'll run over.
Um,
Hi, first, nice to meet you. You're awesome. I was curious, what parts of Across the Spider-Verse did you work on?
I can barely hear a little bit, but I think I heard what parts of what?
Oh, that was, what parts of the Spider-Verse movie did you work on?
Oh yeah, so I worked the things that stayed on in the movie was when Miles is talking with Gwen under the water tower, and then the
Oh my
parents come in. And it's that whole scene where then he talks with his mom and they're having that moment. I got to board that part. Yeah. And then I boarded there were a lot of us kind of worked on each other's, but the main ones that I like only touched was when Miguel or 2099 is chasing Miles and like ripping the go home machine. So I got to board that little action part and what follows that, which is like when he's mad at Gwen and he's like, I thought we were the good guys, and he's like, we are. So I got to board that.
That's amazing.
Thank you. And the last one that I enjoyed, it changed a little bit in some shots, and you actually see some of the boards that I'm going to show in a little bit. Is when Gwen goes back home to her dad, and they have that whole conversation. So I got on board that section. So yeah, it was really fun. It was
That's
really, really
amazing.
cool. Thank you.
You got to board like the best parts of the movie, like the highlights.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the like my coworkers are so talented. All the action scenes like are so amazing on that movie. So yeah, we all worked really hard on that.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing that. Do we have any other
Yeah.
questions? Oh, yes. Okay, we got a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know a little bit more about how Sony approached it.
Oh, yeah, how did Sony approach you? Or how were you reached out to by Sony, I guess?
You know, I think it happened really random, which is it's gonna sound really strange. It was when like Twitter was normal.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day, back in like end of 2018, beginning of 2019. And I think one of the head of stories on this movie before he got moved to something else. I think he had followed me for a while on Twitter,
Oh,
and so he told me this after, but he didn't because he didn't reach out. He had like the recruiter reach out to me, and so then she later told me it was him, and I was like, that's so random that like because all I was posting was animal like I wasn't posting like boards or anything. So I think it was more of like oh, and they knew that I was a trainee. I think he knew that I had gone for the training program. So
yeah.
I think because they asked me about that in my interview. So I think they were kind of curious or maybe even taking a chance to be like, let's hire like a newbie, you know, and see how it goes. So that's, yeah, I hope that answered that question. It was kind of, I mean, I was also actively like posting that I was looking for work too, so that helped. But I
Yeah.
think that like, I think that that's kind of how it happened. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess, thank you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's super impressive. I guess like going off of that,
Mhm.
do you find social media to be like a helpful place to kind of like put feelers out to find work, or do you have any other advice about like ways
Right.
to find work?
I think it's one way of doing that for sure.
Mhm.
I think because it's easier to kind of post something faster, or like if people follow you, it's sort of like, oh, I know this person, or I've seen this person's journey through like social media. And it doesn't have to be Instagram, it could be like Twitter or any space that you have.
Yeah.
Because partially sometimes it does happen if like someone knows you, like it helps to get a job that way.
Mhm.
Um, but I think also like going to events like Lightbox or any kind of conventions and stuff helps a lot as well. So and any kind of like, doesn't have to be animation, it could be like comics or whatever, you know, like it helps, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is this is a side note. Have you been to Lightbox Expo before?
Yeah, I actually tabled last year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I think I was there, then like maybe one other member of our club was there. So I probably walked
Oh,
right by
really?
you.
Oh, probably. You know what? I think like, so I tabled with a friend named Steph as well, which didn't probably help and probably confused a lot of people. Uh, so it was like Steph and Steph, but we had our like last names at the bottom. And but I think that still didn't really help, because if people didn't know my last name, they would think it's her last name. So yeah.
That's okay. That's super cool. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys should go again next or this year that comes, because it's really fun. Yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh,
monster.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If any of us do, we'll definitely see if we can find you.
Yeah, yeah. Is there any kind of like expos in Detroit or anything like that? Or were you guys at?
Not, we have like some anime conventions
Okay,
here, and Comic-Con, there's like Motor City Comic-Con.
mhm,
But other than that, no like really like art specific ones. I guess
right.
we have a really cool art fair that happens here in Ann Arbor, but it's more like visual and like fine art, I'd say.
I see, I see.
Yeah.
It's cool. That's cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Very
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
Awesome.
Any other questions? Yes.
I just wanted to comment that Lansing Comic Con exists.
Oh, we also have Lansing Comic Con. So yeah, there are several Comic Cons.
Oh,
Lansing, I just can't remember the
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, there's some in like Detroit and Lansing and Grand Rapids, but yeah.
very cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool.
Any other questions for now, or shall we move on? I think we can move on if you had more to present.
You can never ask again. It's your last. I'm just kidding. All right. Cool. Yeah. And so this next part, I think I was just kind of answering that, the list that you had sent, sort of like kind of questions.
Oh yeah,
I kind of
perfect. Yeah.
went off on that a little bit. So I was just gonna talk a little bit about like character design versus story artists. Um, and kind of go from there. It's quick. It's nothing crazy. And if you guys have questions throughout this, you can totally like ask me. So yeah, so character design versus story artist, they're both similar because they both are pushing story, just that they're executing it a little different. And so what does a character design do? And character designer creates a problem. Wow, I wrote that weird. Creates and problem solves design is what I wanted to write. In feature and project developments, we are given pitch packets describing personalities of the character we are given. So usually like if they have a script or something, like they'll describe what they're looking for in that character. And I want to describe that like 80% is research, reading, and understanding, and then the 20% is more like actually drawing and exploring and like just kind of having fun with the more artsy part of it. Um, but it's really fun, and yeah, I love it. I love design. So yeah, and I want to show examples of like most of the design work I've done has been for TV, but it's all like development things. So I worked on actually Arlo is a film for Netflix.
Wow.
So I did some stuff for Arlo, the alligator boy, and Middlemost Post on Nickelodeon. And here's an example, sort of like a process of what it would be. So for Middlemost Post, I had to design two characters. One was a mayor, and another his like little henchman Ryan. And so at first I had to read the script, sort of trying to understand who the character was. And most of the time it's just rough. Like I write down notes, try to figure out like what his shape can be, you know, like it was supposed to be like these kind of random sort of like bug-like animals. And that they live in the cold, so I had to think about like what they were wearing as well. And then I kind of like pose out gesture actions of the characters and how they might feel or think. So these are a little bit more cleaner, but still pretty rough. He was really fun to draw with the extra limbs. And
Yeah.
then once it's approved, the notes, I create like 2 sheets of character expressions or interactions. So here's Ryan, the little guy. And then this is a cleanup pass as well of the quizzes. And then one of the final passes is doing a turnaround, and then I get to see like the final design, who is another designer that kind of just like gives it its final form. But yeah, turnarounds are kind of fun. They're very technical, but it does help a lot to like understand what the design looks like in every angle. Um, and yeah, if you guys have any questions for this part?
Oh my gosh. Again, I just had a question and then it left my brain.
Yeah.
Um, maybe.
Yeah, go for it.
Actually, like recently I was doing turnarounds for one of my projects, and like it
Okay.
was like I was having so much trouble with it. Like, how
Mhm.
is it like your process? Like, do you like, I don't know, like use what design do you start with the turnaround, I guess?
Oh, like what drawing do I start first?
Like which angle and like kind of like
Yeah.
process like for turnaround, I'm curious.
So I actually start with the 3/4. I start off. Can you see my mouse? My mouth.
Yeah.
My mouth. Okay. Yeah. So I start off with the 3/4 just because like I'm more comfortable and sort of seeing it. You could say like it has more volume if you have it 3/4. And then from there, I do the front one because it's just sort of like the same shape, just putting everything more flat like this. And then from there, what I do is this is how you can cheat, okay? So if you see this like shape, I'm just gonna kind of like go around it, this like basic shape like that. I trace it and I copy paste it and drag it so like it's aligned to like each one. And then I just erase like half of this. So this here is basically the same as this, but now I'm envisioning it to be more like just a flat side view. And you can do it through everything really, which helps a lot because I understand like it breaks my head too, being like, I don't understand how like this is gonna turn, like it's like it's really hard. And so this is just this one. I copied it and I erased all this, and that's just the back of it. So yeah, less drawing is what I recommend. But yeah,
That
I
is
don't know if that.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh my gosh.
What do you usually start off with?
I think when I was doing it, I was starting off with the front view and I looked up tutorials and like they started with the 3/4 view. And I was like,
Yeah,
that would have probably made it easier, I think, because I do
yeah,
like the 3/4 view more and it has like the volume with it instead of like just flat. But yeah,
yeah,
I will take that into account when I revisit them because they're still
yes.
not.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good one. That makes so much sense. I'm like, that's mind-boggling. That's crazy.
It's
Again,
honestly sometimes the most little thing that you're like, wait, what? And then it's like forever in your brain now. When you
yeah,
see,
and then
once
you do it, and you're like,
yeah,
what have I
yeah,
been
yeah.
doing for the past 5 years? Like,
That sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I guess I was curious about like the kind of like the turnaround time from like when you first get
Right.
like assigned the like description and then when you have to have like the characters done or like when you have to have the sketches done and stuff like that.
It's usually about 2 weeks,
Mhm.
maybe 3. It depends on how long, like how flexible the director is or whatever the project is.
Mhm.
So it was 2 characters and they were only asking for like little quick concepts. It was just 2 weeks.
Mhm.
And that first week, it's just like I divide my time within that of like exploring like these sketches right here. These.
Mhm.
It's easy to kind of get lost and be like, I just want to have fun and draw like this. And which sometimes happens and then you just have to like rush everything. But usually that first week is a time to really explore like this and maybe even like this. That way they can give you notes, and that last week you have is just cleanup things for you to do. So usually it's about a 2 week like turnaround for it. And well, for freelance, you can always ask for like more days if you needed to. And
Mhm.
even I think like full time. So they're very flexible. But I think definitely they try to do like a 2 week like deadline.
Yeah,
Usually,
that's
yeah.
good to know. That makes a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah.
sense. Um,
Yeah.
I had one more question just about like the
Yeah.
character design. But like, I know you mentioned like 80% like researching and just kind of exploring and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. Is it, do you find that you do a lot of like research through like actually like doing it, or like is it kind of like also like either looking stuff up or like exploring, like if you're like trying to reference something, you're like searching for references and things like that?
Yeah, it's mainly like I'll read the script and I'm writing down like kind of like bulletin point
Mm.
points of like that are like popping to me, or things that they told me like, oh, this character is like this. And then it's research online of like, I don't know, clothes and like winter clothes, anything that like I need to figure out sort of like what they want.
Yeah.
Um, and inspirations in this, I'm like, oh, I need to see like I don't know, just anything really. This one, I would say I did a little bit less research just because like I kind of they gave me the style that they had already, so it's a
Mhm.
little bit faster. Um, but for a feature, it is very much of like what kind of style do they want? Like inspiration and all this like lots of research, lots of reading. And you're probably still drawing too while you're doing that, but it's mainly like trying to understand like what like who these characters are. And then that way when you're drawing, you like have all this information while you're doing that. So yeah, yeah. I don't know if that answered.
Yeah, no, that was a great answer. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions so far? No, I think we're good. If you'd like to, if you have any.
Ooh, yeah. So then the next one is just about storyboarding. So what does artists do? Create sequential images telling a story. And feature animation lets you explore many possibilities a scene can be. We're given script pages to create a sequence that conveys what the scene will look and feel. We are directors, actors, editors, and designers. And same, I divided by 80/20 just because that's what it feels like to me. It could be different for everyone else. Like it could
Mhm.
be like 50 or something. Um, and yeah, so it's like understanding story and the character and research and lots of just rereading the script, trying to figure out like, okay, what is it that the character wants? Uh, Talking with the director, like maybe things that they are visioning. So you ask a lot of questions, and the rest is drawing and like executing it. Yeah, so here are some examples from Spider-Verse when Gwen goes to talk with her dad. These are the ones that are like for the final screening. And you can see that they're rough, but they're clean at the same time. Um, which is kind of great. You don't have to be super like, this is I drew a little bit better because I was like, I really wanted to show the expression of the dad, but sometimes it could just be like this. But versus like the bottom ones here, which are the same, they're the same idea, but just in a really more rough stage.
Mhm.
And what I'm really just doing on these, I'm just looking for like composition and like mood and feeling that it can convey. So sometimes I think about it like my brain is thinking like this, just like shapes. Um and it's thumbnails, so usually they're really small as well. Just trying to figure out like where the characters can be, placing them and all that. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's boards for that. And then oh, that was it for storyboarding. If you have any questions about that as
Oh my
well.
gosh, yeah, that's amazing.
Um, yes, I do have a question. I'm also interested in like story and storyboarding. I don't know, I could ask so many things, but I kind of want to ask like from like your experience, like going to like a community college and like not necessarily going to like a program like specific for storyboarding, like how did you like, well, actually, never mind. You did the training program, but like other than that, like um, do you have any like stuff you did to like practice or like how you learned like outside of that or anything about that kind of?
Yeah. I actually got two books that I really, really liked, which is Dream Worlds. I don't know if you've heard of that one. Dream Worlds, and The Noble Approach. So I got those two books, and Dream Worlds really goes into kind of like this, like these kind of shapes and stuff. I remember I reread that book a couple times because I was like, okay, I have to understand like what storyboarding is and stuff. Because like you said, I had not done any really. I well, that's not true. I had done a little bit in college, but it wasn't like for film. It was just kind of more comic style, is what like we were told. And so I remember doing it. I was like, I don't think I like this. I was like, oh, whatever. But I definitely like those two books really like helped me understand like what storyboarding is. And Noble Approach was really good with composition. And I don't know, those books like just help me visually like understand what this job was. And then I think the training program really like helped. It was actually really challenging and scary because I felt like they kind of threw me at the end of the pool, and like learn how to swim, and I'm like, no, I don't know how. So a lot of it was just like I just learned in that training program. Like they were like, this is what or camera movement is, and they kind of were like crash courses of stuff. I was like, wow, this is a lot of work. Like it's not just drawing. It's like, where do I put the camera? Where do I do this? And it's like, it was hurting my brain. It was a lot. It was a lot in the training program. Um, and um, what else was the question? I got sidetracked a little bit.
Yeah, that was kind of it. I guess like in addition to that, like how like I guess whether it's like in like your professional work or like many personal work, just in general, like how do you like create like the atmosphere and kind of environment within boards? So I feel like for me, that's kind of like the hardest part is like how am I like putting into the drawing like what I visualize in my head when it comes to like the environment because I feel like the characters are like still like
Yeah.
kind of still like sometimes difficult to approach, but for me it's like trying to like make sure they make sense in space. Cause
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm kind of curious because I saw in the storyboard it seems like the
Yeah, this right here.
background in this one like it might be like 3D or something, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this was given to us just like as reference, and I was like, I don't want to draw. So I just put it back there. But I understand what you mean. I watched a lot of movies and did a lot of like thumbnail studying because of that. And I still actually am trying to learn, push that even in my boards now, because it is kind of easy to get lost in like space that you're talking about. Um, I'm trying to think to answer this question. Because like you described it well as like how I also like had a lot of trouble in my brain understanding space. I think once I broke it down into shapes like this, I was able to sort of like give characters a little bit more depth in that. Um, like even like this too, where I was like, this didn't make much sense, but then, man, hold on, I'm really trying to figure out a way to answer this
No,
question.
thank you. I know, but I understand. It's like a mind, like the thing you're talking about, either like I'm trying to like figure out, like my mind is like
Yeah,
that's how, yeah, that I have that too. So I totally understand.
yeah,
Like,
because I definitely skipped like perspective. I remember my friend
yeah.
was like, you have to learn it. And I was like, no, I hate this. But then he like kind of helped me like break down sort of like just um like a shorthand of like when things go into space and even
Mhm.
doing things like that like help a lot. So I think now I actually add the grid a lot in my drawings
Mhm.
and I understand sort of a little bit more space. And
Mhm.
I actually pull out more now than before. I always stay like really close to my boards. So if you just go out a little bit more, it helps a lot, I think. I don't know if this helps. I'm
Oh
like
yeah.
trying to explain a little
Oh,
bit. Yeah.
oh yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely does help. Thank you for sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
realized like for me too, like just putting the grid in there and kind of like getting a
Yeah.
sense of where the plane is like helps, even if it's not like, even if it still looks kind of janky, it does help. So thank you.
Yeah.
That definitely helps.
One tool that's been helping me a lot right now, even as a professional, is if you've ever heard of Shop Deck.
I don't know. Huh?
I'll
Wow.
show you your after this, after I'm done with the slides. But Shop Deck is like a, like Pinterest, think of like Pinterest, but like for film only. And
Ooh.
so you can look up a film that you want, like let's say, I don't know, John Wick or something.
Mhm.
And it gives you all the shots of the movie, all the shots. So you can like either screen capture it or like you draw on your paper and stuff.
Mhm.
That's actually how I've been learning how to give more perspective because I'll just redraw that shot. And then it's just kind of like a library that you have in your brain of like, oh, this is how like this shot would look like or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a better answer. I like that answer.
Oh
So,
yeah, thank you.
yeah, and I'll show you guys after because it's a really cool like you have to pay for it. Maybe if you're a student, you
Mhm.
get a discount, I think.
Mhm.
But I think it's a really good like place to practice that what you're talking about. Um,
Nice. Yeah, Althea's already looking it up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then so the next one is just going to be about like the digital drawing tools that I use, which
Mhm.
is my iPad and the Cintiq Wacom tablet. um, and I'll use Procreate or Photoshop, and then I have Max packs for Procreate, and Kyle's brushes are great. I'm sure you guys probably know these guys.
Mhm. Heard of
These are
Kyle.
yeah, Kyle.
I'm a fan.
And these are just my favorite ones I use because there's like a bit of a texture to them.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that's it. That's all. Uh,
Yay. Awesome. Thank you.
um,
Woo.
Thank you.
I guess we can go into additional questions if anyone has any.
yeah.
I have a few, but oh, we do have a question. You could just shout it out and I'll repeat it.
Did you have experience with story? Does it get any easier over time? It's not have very much.
Oh yeah. Does storyboarding get easier over time or does it like still present a lot of challenges to you? Like have you I guess like
Yeah, I'm like I'm thinking. I
um
want to say yes, it does get easier because you have like a shorthand things like I was talking about, like you have this library of things that you're like, oh, I've done this kind of shot before. Um, in the sense of like drawing, I think it gets easier. But it'll always be challenging because each script, each scene that you're given will be different. So there's always that kind of like fear of like, am I gonna do the job? Like, am I gonna show what the director wants to see? So there's always a kind of like little bit of fear. It gets a little bit less, but I think you always will like kind of doubt yourself just a tiny bit.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it does get better. I feel like you'll feel more confident as like time goes. Like you'll feel like you're like, I can do this. Like I can, yeah.
thank you so much. Any other
Yeah.
questions? Was that good? Any follow-ups?
through working on all these like animation companies, sort of. I wanted to know, do you have any time for like your own personal projects while working with all these companies?
Okay, so the question was, good question. Like, since you're working with all these amazing companies, do you find that you have a lot of free time outside of work to like work on your own personal projects? Or do you find that it's mostly just like go, go, go with work?
I think this is the first year that like I have not done any freelance work, so I've just been like working at Disney. So now I feel like I have that free time of just like I leave work and then I come home and like do nothing, or like I'm just chilling because I've been drawing all day and I'm like I don't want to think about drawing. But I do find myself like I love drawing. I think I'll probably like you'll see me. I'm always like with a sketchbook and people are like you were just drawing at work. I'm like, I know, but I like drawing. So I like that time for myself of like drawing. So but before I think I was definitely like burned out from doing too much like freelance and full time. I don't recommend it unless you really need to save money or something, but I don't recommend doing two jobs at the same time. But yeah, I hope that answered that question. In a
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, that is a good question. Yeah, oh my gosh, excuse me. My follow-up question was kind of like about like kind of like avoiding burnout and like do you have any advice for like ways to avoid it, or if you're in the throes of it, how to like kind of be patient with yourself to get
Yeah.
out?
I think I think the first thing, because this is what I definitely did before, is like if you have a certain like for me it's like from 9 to 6 work time, and like once it's 6 p.m. like I stop. Like I'm not gonna do more unless they ask me to, then maybe. But if not, it's like I'm done. Like I'm done for the day. That's it. Because if you overwork yourself and you're like, oh, let me just save like another hour, or let me just do this 3 more hours, and you do that constantly, like you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna hurt your wrist.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think even if you wind up finding yourself in that, I think once you recognize it, it's very good to just like go outside or go do something different. It could still be art related, but like just going out and like touching grass and like whoops. Oh, I don't know what I did to my screen. Um has really helped me. Something's gonna happen to my screen right now. Let me
No
just
worries.
stop sharing so that way you guys can see my face.
Yay!
Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I think what's helped me a lot is like just going out and doing things. And I still carry my sketchbook because it's a little different from like doing somebody else's thing that like you're creating and
Mhm.
just doing it yourself. Like at least like heals my soul from burnout. Because I definitely experienced it on Spider-Verse. Like it was my first film and I was very like naive in it. And I was like, this is animation, this is what like a movie's about. And after like a year and a half, my other coworkers are like, you stop doing what you're doing. Like you can't work overtime without getting paid. And because when you're new, you're like, I'm gonna do everything I can to like show everyone how good I am, or like I need to
Mhm.
be here, right? Especially when you're surrounded with people that have been there for like a long time and they are like experienced. So I definitely experienced burnout from putting a lot of pressure on myself of like trying to prove myself of like my talent.
Mhm.
So I recommend to not do that. I know it's hard. It's not simple. I'm saying it very easily, but it's not easy. But I think just really feeling a little bit more confident when you're doing things, and when you feel tired, to rest, rest your mind,
Yeah.
your body. Yeah, because I think it's easy to just be like, oh, it's okay. Like I won't eat right now, or like, oh, like let me do this for a little bit of time, and I won't go hang out because like I want to do this. But I think it's important to just take a step back from time to
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah,
that validation and reinforcement. Because I was
yeah.
I was feeling a little bit guilty when I'm taking breaks, but I'm like, I know it's necessary.
No, I definitely feel it too. Even like I think this is my first year that I took my like vacation time at work.
Wow.
In general, like as an experience. And my girlfriend was like, why do you feel weird? I'm like, I don't know. I feel bad. I feel like I'm taking time. They're like, no, like you should go out. Like you can do things. You can take like time off. It's there for us, like it's provided for us. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's really
I
good. Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, that's awesome. Kind of following up with that, do you ever like this is kind of a similar question, but do you ever find that like you experience like a lot of imposter syndrome, or you're like, how did I get here? What's going on? And kind of like how do you deal with that? How do you like combat that?
Um, yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to feel that because like um it's hard when you're working with a lot of very talented people, and so you're like, oh, that's scary. Um, and I think you have to kind of just like snap yourself out of it, like, and just be like, well, fuck it, like I'm here, like I'm just gonna do a thing, and whatever happens, happens. Like I don't like I'm doing my job. It's yeah. I don't know if that helps. I have to you have to like gaslight yourself a little bit, you know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah,
Like you like lie to yourself sometimes.
like
Um,
delusional self-confidence.
a little bit, but it helps. It's like
Yeah,
the good,
the good
yeah.
kind of delusional
Yeah,
self-confidence.
yeah. Because it's easy to spiral from that. Like it's
Yeah.
easy to be like, oh, like maybe I did this wrong, or like how come yeah, it's easy to really self-sabotage yourself and yeah, have the imposter syndrome. So
Makes a lot of sense, yeah. Well, that's good that you know how to get out of it.
yeah, it's taking some time. I mean, it still sometimes happens, and I'm just like, wait, why? Like, why am I doing that to myself? Like, no, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so true. Do we have any other questions so far? Thus far? Oh, yes, we have a question.
I'm just curious about the character she draws. What's the story behind the character? I know they were getting.
Oh, yeah. Do you have a story or reason behind the little like animal that you drew in like your slides?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's my little like I've always drawn myself as like a little dog wolf,
I
like
love
for a
that.
while now. And I'll always kind of have like a little curl because my hair is curly, so I'll just have like a little poof. Um, and like I myself feel really like androgynous and stuff, so like you can't tell if it's a girl or boy. It's very like it's just like a non-binary like character that I've just sort of drew myself as easy. Yeah.
I love that. That's so good. Yes, thank you. Do we have any other questions? If not, I have more.
I do.
Oh, my sleeve. Do you have you can go ahead.
Okay. I have a kind of cliche question, but if you could say anything to your like college self, what would you say? Like kind of like art related stuff, because obviously you could say so many things, but yeah.
My art college self. Uh, hmm. I would tell myself to slow down.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I think I focused so much on it that like there were times where I felt like I wanted things already. And then when it happened, I was like, oh, I feel like I missed out on some stuff. I think I would be like, it's okay. Like things are gonna be fine. You can take your time. Yeah, because yeah, I think I was like really eager to just like I'm like I need to find a job like now. So I think I would have told myself to just relax. 'Cause, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's good advice.
yeah.
I've never been relaxed ever, so I'll try to do
Yeah,
that.
and it's yeah, I think like me now time I'm like, don't worry about it. It's good. Yeah,
Very good question. Do you have any other questions?
yeah, I like that question. That's
I don't know. I think that was my big one, but we'll
That's
see.
a good one.
Maybe,
That's a
maybe.
good question. I guess, I was curious, this is like a silly one, but I was curious if you have like a preference between like character design or storyboarding, or if they both kind of have like their pros and cons to them at all.
yeah. I I like them. It's funny. I feel like it's like kids like they're both my favorite. I can't say either. Um, but I definitely prefer design, even though I haven't done it like like fully, because my goal has been just full-time like feature design. But
Mhm.
I found myself in story, and I'm loving it a lot, but it's like I explained a little bit, it's been a challenge because I hadn't really thought about it before. And not that it's wrong, like I'm learning a lot and it's like a whole different like thing. Um I think the pros about it is that like it feels like animation because that's what I wanted to do first. It's like animation. But the cons is that like you don't really get to see that art up there, right? Like at the end of the day, you're like, "Ah," and then like you can show people, but it's just like I don't know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's like you're directing, you're like doing all these different jobs like in one title. And design, it's like you get to have fun, you're just drawing like different ideas and doing the poses and like I love research, so like I feel like that gives it a lot of time to do that. So I I've had a lot of fun for design a lot more. Like I find myself in peace a little bit. Then story is a lot challenging for me. But I love it too. I don't know. Like yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also just curious. Oh, sorry, what?
So I was gonna say I've met a lot of people that do both.
Mhm.
Like I think Corey Loftus did boarding for a little bit and then he just did character design. So there's a lot of like artists that I didn't know that used to do story and now are just fully design or design and then go to story. I'm like, whoa. So I think that kind of just inspires me to be like, "I can do both." Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Do we have any other questions while I try to formulate more in my head? Because I'm bursting with questions. They're all just like in the back of my mind. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
None that I can see. Okay. Wait, let's see if I have any others. Oh wait, do have a question. What's up?
Uh, What is your favorite, like, I don't know, top 5 movies?
Oh, what is your
top
favorite?
5 movies.
Yeah, top five movies.
Not animated or anime or it doesn't matter, like whatever.
Um, uh, they're deciding.
Cool.
What, top 6, 3 animated, 3 real?
Okay. Um,
What?
we're gonna do top three animated movies and top like live action, top three
Okay,
live.
so 5 and 5 of animated and
3 and 3.
oh 3 and 3. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's restrictions.
You can
Okay.
say
I was gonna say, damn. Okay, animated. That's hard. Cause I'm like all of a sudden, because I was talking about Disney, I'm like, I'm just thinking Disney, but there's like all these other ones. Okay, I love from DreamWorks, El Dorado. That's my favorite movie. The Road to El Dorado.
Oh, that one is so good.
Uh, Disney, if I had to like pick, like, 'cause I love so many, like so many of them. Fuck. Oh. That one's hard. Uh, I'm gonna say Tangled because I recently watched it again, and it's actually really one of my favorite ones, and probably the last movie that's been great from them. Actually, not last movie, but like recently.
Yeah.
I know. Don't actually. I shouldn't even be saying this because you're recording this.
Okay, we can cut it out.
I was about to say some other stuff, but anyway. Disney's great, guys. Don't worry. And then the third one, animated. I really like Storks, and
Store.
that's just like yeah. It's really funny. I really like that one. Yeah, I'm just gonna say what like came to mind because
Exactly. Yeah.
so many. Live action. Okay, I like. What's that one movie? I always say it wrong. Something like Spotless Mind. It's like a romantic kind of one.
What's it called?
Um,
Eternal Sunshine?
there you go, that one. Eternal Sunshine of a Beautiful One. That one's
Yeah.
great. Mm, that's hard, you guys. Three? Three? Okay. I really like the first John Wick. The other ones are kind of John Wick. Um, And Indiana Jones. I really, really like Indiana Jones. So, like I can rewatch those a lot. Like those are great.
Nice.
Yeah. So the ones that come up that I
Nice.
really look at. Yeah.
Good choices, good choices.
Yeah. I guess like I'm trying to like formulate this like follow-up question like after it, but I was thinking like, do you like find it to be fun to like go out to watch like the movies that you've like worked on, or is it like you're just like so done with it at that point that you're like, I don't want anything to do with it. You have to wait like a while to see it.
I think it's like a mixed feeling because that's kind of how it felt on Spider-Verse. Like,
Mhm.
I think I was just excited to see it all together. I was like, oh, like I can't wait that like it's gonna be fully animated, like just like a done thing. Um, so part of me was like really happy to see some of my scenes there. I was like, oh my God, like it made it. Like it's crazy. Um, but then it's definitely hard to like watch it like as a normal person, like just like not because like you'll judge it. You're like, oh, like this could have been this, or like I remember that part. Like it's hard to like shut it down. So um it's never to like, oh God, like I can't watch this movie because like I worked on it. At least I haven't had that experience yet. But I definitely was excited to see a lot of my like scenes animated. Um but I think now it's hard to see things without like analyzing it.
I see.
And that goes with like any movie too. And I'm sure you guys probably do it the same way. Like you're watching it like, that's a weird design, or like that's wrong. Or like that was a weird cut. Like, yeah, yes. So,
Yeah, I think that just shows how much you've grown, how knowledgeable you are, and like
no,
able to see things like that.
yeah, I make fun of a lot of movies. Like, just I'm like, that's an interesting shot choice. Like, what? But they're trying. It's okay. It must be hard to film a live action movie. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's really funny. I'm always curious about that because I'm curious. I'm always curious about like what it's like to like be like, oh, that I did that. That's crazy and stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. I,
that.
I definitely like get like I don't know how to react when people are like, oh my God, like you did this, and I'm like, yeah, they're like they all like excited and I don't know what to do. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah. And then I'm like, okay, bye. So it's a little like it's strange because I think it's like I wanted that for a long time. Not people like asking me, but like wanting to work in animation for the
Mhm.
longest time. So when you're on the other side, you're like, oh, this is weird, right? Like, I used to be like that, or like, it's like at expos, you're like, oh my God, you're my favorite artist. And so it's like a little strange to now
Yeah.
be behind the scenes in the movies and like see people like reacting to it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
That's
fun
so
though, but it's like
yeah.
kind of sad at the same time because in a way it's like bittersweet because you're like you kind of wish you saw the movie without knowing what it was going to be about, and you're like, wow. Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Yeah. Do you have a question?
I do.
Oh, wait, here you go.
Okay, I've returned. But is there any like whether like film or TV productions that like you saw and you're like, oh, I would love to have like worked on this? Like you're just like so obsessed with it that you want to work on
Yeah, one that I would have like, and I got mad too because I'm like, God damn it, they're doing so many of them. Is Kung Fu Panda. Like, I
Mm.
love Kung Fu Panda, and every time there's another movie coming out, I was like, I hope I get to work on the next one if they're gonna make one. Like, they would always come out. I was like, one day I'll be part of that, and I doubt that they're gonna make a fifth one.
Mhm.
I don't think so. But I think that's definitely a film that I like, a production that I was like, that seems really fun to have been on. Kung Fu Panda and like Puss in Boots, the new one that came out, like I would have loved to have been part of that. That looks like fun. Definitely a lot of like it's funny, a lot of DreamWorks movies I would have loved to like been on the past like few years. But yeah, I don't know, something about Kung Fu Panda. It's like
Yeah.
it's just so good. Definitely as a designer though.
Mhm.
I don't know about storyboarding, but I would have loved to have been on those movies.
Yeah.
Design. Yeah.
It's really cool. I can't remember his name, but I know that like the character designer, who
Oh yeah,
like or like he was like the lead designer. Like I remember seeing like his concept art for like Poe was just like it was just like so amazing. It was so distinct.
yeah. His name's Nicholas Marlet. I
Yeah.
just, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah, I'm like obsessed with him. Like I honestly like from some time like I was drawing like him, and then I was like I need to stop because it's literally his like style, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I was just like I need to like learn and like move on.
Mhm.
Because we're gonna be like, is that Nicholas? I was like, no.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Going off of that, do you have any like specific like artists or I guess like films in general that you take a lot of inspiration from or like that inspire?
Yeah. I think for design, Nicholas Merlet, um, David Coleman. I don't know if you guys heard of him before. David Coleman. He worked at Sony for a little while. He did designs on Sursa. I don't know if you
Oh, maybe, yeah,
that
yeah.
that's a good movie too. Not a lot of people. It's very like what's the word for movies? Not
Ooh.
be movies. Underrated. It's an underrated
Underrated.
movie. There you go. All the names that I like are like slipping away from my mind right now.
So,
Like lots of like the Nine Old Men from Disney, like
oh,
their
yeah.
style design is so great. It's like Rescuers Down Under, Jungle Book, Aristocrats, like all that kind of like design.
Mhm.
101 Dalmatians, so good. I'm like I can feel the
Yes.
drawings. Like like you can if you see some of my other like drawings and like kind of more gestural, like I feel like you can see that.
Mhm.
Uh, for a film, I'm gonna say I don't know a lot of director names, so I'm sorry about that. Only because I feel like the past 3 years I've actually been like very like watching movies and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and like understanding directors. I really liked the filmmaking of Parasite. That was really
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. I thought it was so good. Um, I can't remember his name, but he won this Oscar.
Oh, yeah. I can't
Director,
remember
he
the
made
name,
me like
but
this. Um, I'm trying to think what kind of style of movies I like.
Mhm.
Indiana Jones is one because there's a lot of action and like fun in there, like a lot of charisma. I think I
Mhm.
look for that a lot in film, like that does that. Actually, I don't know who the director is. It must have been like Tina Fey. I watched Mean Girls, the
Oh my
recent one,
God.
the film of like the the Broadway, and the
Mhm.
camera movements for I think for like a theatrical like adaptation is really good.
Yeah.
Uh, so that was really like wow, I like this kind of like musical sort of theater kind of style of it. Because I look for a lot of like color and like pur pers purposeful, yeah. Oh my God, I can't say it again. I can't say the word. What I just said it earlier. Like on purpose.
Oh,
What's the
yeah.
word?
Purposeful.
There we go. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Listen, English is my second language.
No, don't
Sometimes
you worry.
don't make sense to me. Uh, um, so yeah, like I look for color a lot and like shots that are really like uh pushed, I guess. Yeah. I hope that answered that question
Yeah.
of, of some of the stuff I like.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. I
Yeah.
always love seeing like what people are inspired by and who inspires them and stuff like that.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I think I had another question, but I can't remember it. Any other questions? Nar? Okay, do you have any questions? No?
No.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some.
Questions have been answered.
I think, yeah, pretty much all my questions have been answered. All of my questions have been answered.
Okay.
Did you have any questions? I don't know.
Did I have any well, I was gonna say because every time you said the top three like movies, I'm like, what are your guys' top three movies or animations like that? Yeah.
Ooh.
Top movies?
Oh, someone said Turning Red.
Turning Red is good.
Turning Red was
Okay.
really good.
I feel like there's a, I don't know, Disney, when it's Disney, Frozen is not it, but it came to mind.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
actually like Frozen that much.
You watch it a lot though.
No, I don't.
You like the music.
Outing her out.
Listen, if I had to pick
Hey,
a
don't worry about it. Just let it go, you know?
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
That
I'm
was
sorry, I had to do it. I had to do it.
No. No. What's another Disney movie? I like Mulan.
Yeah, Mulan's really good.
Yeah. Oh, The Little
Yeah.
Mermaid.
Oh, that's a good, yeah.
Love The Little Mermaid.
I also love Tangled. That movie
Yeah.
is so good.
Tangled is
So
really
good. We got a chance at work to see the version, like one more version before like the final one, which is just boards. And it was kind of insane, but really cool at the same time. And I was like, this movie is the best movie ever. So funny. Like they have not made a movie like that, like since that movie where it had jokes and all that. And they talked about how like their competition was Shrek, because Shrek had just come out. And so when they were making that movie, they're like, are they gonna like this movie? Like, are we making another princess? Like, we don't, like it was this whole thing. But anyway, so.
No, that's so cool.
Yeah, I forgot. I know it has problems. I know that no one likes it, but I love Raya and the Last Dragon, and I cannot stay silent.
Oh.
I see the potential. No. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox, but I
Wait,
do.
why do you like it? Why do you?
I really like. I feel like the story feels like something that I would read in like a book that I like, because I feel like it feels very
Okay.
like fantasy with like, like female characters that aren't like so princessy. Not that that's a bad thing, but I
Yeah.
feel like for me, I would have loved to see it in like just like a different style. I feel like if it was less like constrained. I mean, I don't know. I feel like in a
Yeah.
different studio or different, like it could have
Mhm.
been like really
Yeah.
interesting. I'm like, if it's Disney, why not music? Like, why no music,
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah, I think that's what I definitely felt too, because when I was a trainee, like I was watching it, like the development of it,
Mhm.
and I had seen a version of it, and I was like, wait, this is really cool. And instead of all that purple smoke, it was actual like these like designs of these like soldier kind of like
Oh,
sort of
wow.
things. I was like, or maybe it's in the art book probably.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do?
I
Like,
know
why is
the
this?
art book.
Yeah,
The art
I
book
was like,
is so good.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the designs, like for some of the things, I just feel like the art book, like they should have. I really like what's in there. I have the art book,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
but yeah, I
I agree.
I will
Yeah.
defend her.
Yeah, I think like her individually, I like her too. Like she's a cool character. Yeah, for sure.
Love her.
Yeah. I'm curious, do you have any like movies or TV shows that are like that where they're like universally hated, but you're like, I think it's neat. I like it. It's okay if you can't think of any right
Oh
away.
man, I I don't know. Well, there's one, but like it's I don't know. It's a live action one. It's like I rewatch it a lot. It's like an older show. Um, it's very like LGBT community. It's the L word, and a lot of people don't like it, but I love it, and I rewatch it all the time. And I know it's like early 2000s, and it's not like it gets weird towards the end, but whatever. I still like that show. Movie, I don't know about movie. I haven't watched one that I'm like, actually, a lot of like disaster movies are really like campy to me, and some people
Yeah.
like, and I think they're funny. Like if you watched Tremors before, it's an older movie. Tremors. It's like it came out early 90s. I recommend it. It's pretty great.
Write that down, write that down.
Tremors or like Volcano or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
all the earth like elements in a disaster movie. Yeah, but I can't think of one right now that I'm like I'm gonna defend it. Oh,
I will always defend.
I will
it.
always defend Legend of Korra. I will.
oh my God, I was about to say I didn't like that one.
You know what?
No, okay, here's the thing. One, I haven't watched it all, so I can't say I don't like it because I haven't watched it. Like I've watched one episode,
Yeah.
And the reason why I started watching it is because I found a compilation of her and that one character that I was like, oh my God, they're gonna get together. I need to see this. And then I find out that this doesn't happen to the very end.
Yeah, it's a
It's like
really slow
Yeah,
burn.
It's
thing
yeah,
without-
it's in the
so
comics, but
It's so good.
I'm gonna give it
We
another
have-
chance. Only because I judged it a while ago. Because
Yeah. If you watch it, you should get back to us with what you think of it.
I will, and I will get back to you.
Thank you. I think do we have another question? We have-
I just wanted to ask you, like, I was just wondering if you think of Brave, but that's what I always thought of, just like the bear movie. She hates that movie so much.
Oh, what are your thoughts on Brave? Because
Okay.
yeah, because the person who asked the question said their sister hates the movie, so what are your thoughts?
I actually really like that movie.
Good
Well,
one.
I think I was obsessed with it because I'm like, wow, Pixar did a princess movie, like that's kind of insane.
Yeah.
And then I also was like, oh, I really identify with this character because like she doesn't want to wear a dress, she doesn't want to get married, she's gay. But you don't know that. You know, and it's like, and I don't know, I love like a lot of like what is it called?
Mythological or
Mythological.
medieval?
Like
Medieval.
lore, yeah, medieval, yeah, like all those kind of like tales. So it's got such a like fantasy to it and magical that I'm like, oh, I'm really into this. And also the dynamic between her mom and her and her mom, because I think like I hadn't seen a movie where you see that, where like you see the mom and then fight and then like get back together. And like and that movie makes me cry all the time because it's like, you know, you hear your mom, but then like you have reasons why and this whole thing. So she turns into a bear, whatever. But you know, they resolve their relationship and it's great, I think. Yeah.
I
So
agree.
I really yeah. And it's okay to hate it. Maybe
Yeah.
you can't identify with her, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of any last questions, but I guess
Wait,
like
I have a
oh
question
yes.
because you brought up Korra
Mhm.
and you guys are in animation or like in the art world. Um, how many of you guys watched the live action Last Airbender seasons on Netflix?
I'm
Did
too
anybody
haven't
I'm too
seen
scared.
it. I've seen edits of it that are funny,
Yeah.
but that's all.
Oh,
Yeah.
I think that, like,
I got you.
I think that the special effects are really good and all that, but the writing is so bad.
I agree. I agree. You,
So bad, and they took everything awesome about Katara out of her. Like Sokka's sexism is like one of the like main
yeah.
things about him because he and they like and they mush different like episodes together. So like you're just like kind of like this is not the right episode to put this in.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's those are my thoughts.
I like good. That was great. That was because you
Yeah.
said everything that I've been thinking about. So me and my girlfriend were watching it and we fell asleep and we woke up and like Aang was in jail or something. We're like, what is huh? When? Where are we? And it was only like the second or third episode. I was like, what is happening right now? But yeah, I will yeah, like you said, the visual effects beautiful. The action scenes were really cool actually. Like there was a lot of potential.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then they messed up on the writing.
Like the way
I think my
it's just so weird. Like when
yeah.
episode was just like, I'm just a goofy kid. I like to goof around. I can't be the avatar.
So after I finished all the season, I told I was like, I need to watch the episode in book 3 on the animated one where they go see the play. And I'm like, this is the live action show. Even the actor of Sokka like looks like him a lot. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, but
I have to weigh in. I have to weigh in.
Oh, yeah.
I have to weigh in on this conversation because I cannot stress enough how much they fumbled this. So for one, I think you might have already talked about this, but Aang on like the air scooter looks terrible. Like it's like very vibrant and fun in the opening of the show, and they recreate it verbatim, but it doesn't have any of the dynamic stuff that you can do in animation. So it just looks
Yeah.
like it's doing like
Yeah.
with that. All right, then my second, like, the second biggest issue, well, another big issue, not the second. But when Fire Lord Ozai, fights Zuko, after Zuko, like, defies one of his orders, it's very important in the show that Zuko does not fight back because he's, like, terrified of what he's done.
Yeah.
In the show, they have him fight back and not like terrified, like scrambling, flailing, fighting back. Like he's doing flips, like bicycle kicks and all of that. He's like fighting back. And I don't think that is, I do not think that they understood the assignment. Not at
Nope.
all. For sure. What have they done?
Yep.
It was insane, yeah. I totally agree. And like Uncle Iroh too, I'm like, oh no, I really like that actor, but I don't like the acting that he's doing for that character. I'm like, damn.
I like that they had Danny Pudi as the maker guy. Like that was really cool. I like Danny Pudi.
Mhm.
I like
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, I see that. That's the
Tokyo.
edit. That's the edit I was talking about.
Yep, Go is fantastic. That's why I'm like, okay, I'll watch the other ones because he's in he's there.
Like, where's the honor in that? I'm like,
Wait, what is it? Dirty? It's like he ran.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe I'll watch it.
Does anyone have any other thoughts? Because if not, I have a related but follow-up question. Any other thoughts? Cool. I've two unrelated, or one is related, one is unrelated, but
Okay.
off the top of your head, it's okay if you can't think of any, because this is a big question, but are there any movies that like are live action, or movies or shows that you like that are live action, but you would love to see animated?
Oh. I don't know. I don't think I've thought about them before.
That's so valid.
Like I'm like thinking now, okay. I'm only gonna say that because I rewatch it all the time, but The Office. I think that would be kind of fun.
That would be really funny. That'd be-
But I want it to be like good animation, not like adult animation. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
not
yeah.
be like I don't know.
Oh, I have a question.
Oh.
So what are, I mean, okay, so about adult animation, because I feel like it's just like purposely just done in a very, I guess like not, the point of adult animation isn't like the visual aspect of it, I feel like, even though like it's literally animation. What are some like adult animation shows? Because I feel like there are, but they're just so like not mainstream. Do you have any like recommendations for them?
Oh,
That are like good.
I'm gonna think.
And then visually like really good, I guess.
The only thing that popped into my mind, but it's not like a episodic show or anything like that, but and I say adult because it's very like mature in the topics. It's like Midnight Gospel was, I think it was on Netflix or something. Yeah, and I really like the animation in that. Like it's really great. The designs are really fun as well. I can see that, like that's like the first thing I could think of, and that's the only one that is like good. Maybe you know what, like, and I don't even think if it's like too adult, like Simpsons, I would say. Like the older one was like a little bit better animated, I would say. and possibly Family Guy. Those are like I'm like going down like the line, maybe, and that's it. Yeah, yeah.
I have a follow-up
Yeah.
question.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No.
Okay. Would you like to, like, do you have any, like, I guess, like, goals to, like, have your own show or movie and, like, if it would be, like, a show, like, I don't know, is that something that like, that you would like to, like, take on in the future?
I haven't thought about for a show, but I think one day I would like to do a movie, like feature. But I think that's later on because like being a director is a lot of work, and like at one point you just wind up not drawing anymore, really, and which is fine. I think you take a break from that. Um, and there's a story. Actually, I mentioned it earlier called Zeta and the Lost Stones, and for a bit it was just kind of like I just made up this story, and it's still in my mind. It's like I want to bring a lot of like Hispanic like lore into movies, like a lot of like kind of like spookiness of it. Um, I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen at one point. I don't know if like something else will come out before then, but at least I would like for that like to happen. Or at least like I get to like help out. Yeah. So I think it would be really fun. I haven't seen like a lot of like witchy like brujas or anything like that dark side of that stuff. And I know it has to be very like because you don't want to offend also like the culture, right? And like sort of like where that comes from too. So it's a whole thing. But I think it would be really fun to see that. I know that is it Cartoon Network, right? That has like those two characters. I can't remember the show.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I don't
It-
know.
but I know it came out like a little while ago, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It was like mixture of like at like Mayan stuff.
Oh, that one, yeah. I can't remember what it's called, but it looked really cool.
Yes,
Yeah.
remember what yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like someone who I'm like, well, I think it's so cool that he's bringing it is Jorge Gutierrez because he does like Maya and the Three was really fantastic. Like, did you guys see that one? It was so cool.
I-
Maya and the Three.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like
Go look it up. I'm gonna see.
Maya and the Three. Okay, that's do your homework, okay? No, well, yeah, Maya and the Three is really cool. It
Oh
like
yeah. Mhm.
Is it?
he
is it-
does he
Or-
does this really cool thing in the episodes where like let's say someone's throwing like an arrow or something and the arrow like breaks out of the shot, which I hadn't seen that before, and I was like, wait, that's really cool, like almost kind of like comic style in a way, but yeah,
Is
it's
it,
really cool.
is it a Tigre from Nickelodeon? By Jorge Gutierrez?
Wait, say that again, sorry.
Sorry, is it, there's a show in Nickelodeon by Jorge Gutierrez, it's called El Tigre. Is it
Oh
that?
yeah, he did that one as well. Yeah, he did a theater. He has another one developing as well, and then he did. I think now it's probably like 2 years now of Maya and the Three, or 3 years. Oh.
Okay, yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, you guys find it? I was gonna say, let me see.
That's so cool.
It's very good.
Yeah. It is 9:34 and I wanna respect your time.
Yeah,
But
yeah. I was just
thank you so
kinda
much
hanging out with
for
this.
coming. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and talk to us. Woo!
Thank you,
Your
thank you
art,
for inviting me. I had a lot of fun, guys. Like, I think this is the second time I've done this, so you guys have been really fun.
oh, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
It was
Yeah.
really fun.
Thank you. Do you have any, I don't know, do you have any last, like, one last tidbit of advice or last thing to say to us?
I'm like,
Final
it's always
words?
this fun. I'm like, no. Um, I was gonna say something like funny. I'm like, keep going. Like just something like, yeah,
Yeah.
you got it. I mean, that's true, but um, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of what other people have told me. Um, enjoy life, going out, take a break, drink water, drink your water. Please stay hydrated. um, uh, and I know that sounds funny, but like just I know the industry is kind of scary right now. So it's gonna be okay. Don't give up. Keep wanting to do that. Yeah, because it's easy to be like, why am I doing this? If we like you read things and it's this whole like spiral of all that stuff. So don't don't don't
Yeah.
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 That's my advice.
Thank you. That is very good
Yeah.
advice. And then one last little thing, is there anything that you're working on that we should keep an eye out for? Or like, do you have any upcoming projects? I know that like you can't talk about one of them, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't have anything that I'm doing. Last year I did a coffee book. I don't have it online or anything yet, but if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'll
Yeah.
probably update you. Which is Steph Obel. Or no, that's wrong. I don't even know my own handle. Hold on.
That's okay. We can
I
send it out to our
Yes.
club members.
We can disseminate.
right. Why
Yeah.
am I? Oh, it's Steph_Rizo, Rizo.
Nice. Awesome. I had one other thing to say. I can't remember what it was. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. This was so much fun. You're amazing. Your art is
Oh,
amazing.
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's honestly really fun.
Yeah.
Chatting with you guys.
Oh, I remember.
But yeah.
If any of the club members have any questions, or can they reach out to you?
Yeah.
Other questions or anything?
Yeah, you can share the email that you guys have.
Mhm.
And you guys can reach out to me. I might just take a little time to respond, only because like there's just a lot going on, but I will get back to you. Yeah, if you want me to look at anything, whatever it is, reach out. If you guys want, I can send you the PDF that I showed you guys, just so you
Yeah,
guys can
that'd be
have.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yay!
Great. Thank
Final round of
you.
applause.
Have a good night, you guys.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Have a lovely
Bye.
day. Good luck.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Bye.
Bye.